So another part of the GT86 rebuild is some fiberglass items for the rear of the car mainly. So we bought the 86, my 86 actually, over to Paul Weir Fiberglass on the North Shore, and he made a whole mold of the rear clip. So a whole mold of the rear clip so we can actually pull some factory style guards. So the factory rear clips on our 86s off those, so we've got replacements for when we were at these wall rounds. We actually unfortunately have some damage to the rear. So he's pulled some molds, and now he has just finished the first set of the guards that we're going to be running on the car. So it's a rear clip, 2 pieces, 1 for each side, and he's done an absolutely awesome job. So we're going to take these back now to our workshop. we're going to start cutting off the rear of the car, and then we'll replace them with these fiberglass pieces as well. So it should save a lot of weight. It should also make it a lot easier for us to repair these cars when we do get unfortunate damage, when we're at some of these wall rounds where we do scrape against the concrete walls, etc. like that. So this is just version 2 of the cars. We've sustained some damage on Ben's car, unfortunately, at Pukekohe when he rubbed the wall, so we've kind of been pushed to do this sort of thing as well. But it doesn't just help us now, it helps us into the future when we want to repair the cars going forward. So super excited on how on what the quality is that Paul has done. He's going to be doing a lot more parts for us as well at the same time, doing some molds of the boot and some more of our kit as well. So we've got replacements for those ready available here in Auckland. We don't have to wait for them to come over from overseas. So yeah, let's grab all the bits now and we'll head back and start cutting this thing up.
Right, so we're in an exciting stage of the rebuilds of these cars. As you can see, we're quite far along in the fab work here. Well, Matt from Pariah, he's obviously been involved in D1 and building a whole lot of gangster cars around New Zealand. We put the job to him to help us put these things on a diet and pull the rears off them, change it up, finally put the radiator in the rear to get it out of harm's way in the front, a little bit of extra cooling with the hot 2J making power, and then change our fuel system setup. So as much as that sounds like a simple task, everything's quite intricate and there's a lot to really get fabbed up and done in the back of these cars. So as you can see it now, it's probably 50%, but over 50% of the work we needed Matt to do, and we're just working with Matt on all the different changes and the little aspects which kind of get pretty difficult when you are doing this sort of thing on the back of the car. Unfortunately at Pukekohe in the final I had a little incident with the wall that beat the quarter in, did a little bit of damage in the back of the rail. So what better time now to cut the back off instead of repairing that and do the modifications that we've actually always wanted to do since starting building these 86s. So yeah, Matt's going to do a bit of a rundown on exactly what he's done and why he's done it. And we're just really looking forward to getting this finished stage, get everything powder coated and start reassembling the whole car, and hopefully get that out for some testing at the end of the year. So yeah, it's a wicked product so far and just can't wait to see it finished.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Yeah, so as you can see, obviously we've got rid of pretty much everything from the damaged section back, and we've made a good area of crumple zone that Ben can run it up the wall if that's what he wants to do. We've also made it nice and sided so that all these bars can be easily replaced. You just bend one and have a touch of the wall. So It's all nice and strong, but at the same time it's easily replaceable. And it makes the car a lot more serviceable.
Okay, so servicing, we're going to have the winter stiff sitting right there in the boot. The boot's going to clip in. Obviously you pop it off, check your levels, all that sort of thing. We've got AM lines coming through to our radiator, so we're just going to figure out how exactly we're going to do that. To our new electric water pump, going to be controlled by Haltech in the back here. It's all going to be intricately run through the car. So we're getting to the stages now of the little bits and pieces, but it's going to be a rad product and we're real stoked so far. One of the main aims of obviously moving everything to the back was to get the radiator into the boot. So we're using one of our products, a Fenix radiator in the boot, and we've moved it pretty much out of the front from the heat soak to add a bit more volume of water and to initially keep the engine cold. So it's a major thing in drifting as these things are sideways, and we're doing little spurts with high up in the RPM, putting a lot of load onto the engines, and we just don't get enough airflow. So we've moved the radiator into the boot. We've got a nice window here and a panel that Matt's fabricated up. So the window's going to have a nice tint around it, looking quite factory sort of thing, because we want to keep the cars looking as factory as they can without having any custom jobs that don't look like a car. So we like having the cars look factory, which is great. So Matt's done a wicked job here with a sort of a three-piece panel inside. We're actually going to powder coat a whole lot of this stuff black to keep it looking natural and sort of hidden. And I reckon it's going to look really good. What do you reckon, Matt? What have you done here, and what's the next thing?
A lot of people don't sort of take into account when you do the rear mount. Obviously you're transferring a lot of weight from the front end. Again, in drifting, as it progresses now, a lot of it is set up and weight balance. We've probably moved 40 or 50 kilos from the front back here over the rear wheels where you want the grip. So that's a massive factor. Obviously, as well, going to electric water pump, you get a very steady volume of water rather than a high RPM cavitated amount of water. So these cars should pull pretty well now.
So Matt's done a whole lot of work on a whole lot of cars. You might have seen him around, the head mechanic on Jesse Greenstade's team, and he's done a whole lot of rear mount setups and cars like that, and even some cars that are going to get released in the coming season. So he's done some wicked work with rear radiators. You've actually done quite a few in the field now, haven't you? Yeah. So it's well versed. It's good to get his expertise on what we really needed to do. So I'm pretty stoked on this product, and I just can't wait to dig into it, get everything powder coated and the edge of the windscreen all tinted and painted black to keep that sort of factory rear screen look. Yeah, we've got some wicked direction now of where we're going to go. So I can't wait to show you inside, which is sort of a new sort of thing around here in New Zealand, and we're taking a gamble on moving our fuel system. So that's what we're going to show you next, is the fuel system and where it's going to go and how it's going to be. So now we're onto the fuel system. This is one sort of thing that's going to be really intricate to try and actually execute, but we're pretty happy with how it's going right now. We've decided to move our fuel systems out of the boot of the car, get them out of harm's way, and put them in the floor behind the passenger seat. So one thing with these cars, right-hand drive, heavy turbo manifold, the weight was just a little bit offset to the driver. So we've moved it to the complete passenger side. We've actually gone to a smaller fuel cell system. So we've partnered up with Radium Engineering and put one of their small 22 litre cells in. Obviously that's not a big amount of fuel to be running in these cars, but hey, we're doing 2 laps, 10 litres to a set of tyres, so as long as we're giving it a splash and dash when we put tyres on it, we'll be absolutely fine. So we've gone to the Radium unit, which houses the inbuilt surge tank, the 2 pumps and a lift pump all in one little unit. So it's very compact, it's very tidy, and we've even got a fuel level sensor which is going to be on our Haltech dash, and a fuel level sensor which will probably be at the filler, so you can obviously give it the exact amount of fuel you need. So Matt's task here has been a little bit challenging, just to box everything in. He's got to the stage where he's mounted it and he's made a plan of what we're going to do with the filler, and also a plan of what we're going to do to put a box over it. So New Zealand regulations, obviously everything has to be housed away from the driver for safety reasons, and that's obviously paramount in our thoughts of what we're planning out here. So Matt's done a wicked job, have a look at that.
So as you can see, obviously it's quite a small unit, very compact, but it's going to do the job. We've made a 25 by 25 box to mount the tank and sit it where it's going to stay. Again, back on what Ben said about getting the weight offset right, the driver is obviously a huge offset. Benny Boy's had a few pies in the off season, but mounting the tank on the passenger side here is a good way to offset weight. The battery is obviously going to be housed probably directly behind Ben as well, just to get a little bit more weight back on that side. But yeah, there's going to be basically a fireproof box out of aluminium that'll come up and seal this entire system off. We'll then run the dash 20 line up to the filler so the boys can fill the tank from the outside, no problem. All the dash 8 and dash 6 fuel lines will then pop down through bulkheads and go underneath the car. This will all be sealed off from the driver, obviously fumes, and if there is ever an event of a fire, it's all nice and safe and Benny Boy's not hopping out in a hurry.